where we're meeting with a variety of individuals around content, culture, creativity, and most importantly, tech. I had the opportunity to speak with Dan Gardner, who's the founder and CEO of Code and Theory, and just really curious to hear, he works with some of the largest brands in the world, and I'm really curious to hear his thoughts on messaging, content, and how he sees this evolving in the future. So Dan, messaging, work with global brands, are they thinking about it?
I think there's been a lot of innovation or kind of progressive thinking around the role of messaging, and especially in context of storytelling, that social media specifically has given the opportunity to create more intimate moments with individuals, whether it's the broadcast of creating a piece of content that goes out, but also the role of how it could communicate from a back and forth. So messaging is now being a critical aspect of, it's just not a one-way communication from a brand to a consumer anymore.
Yeah.
There's an expectation that people will talk to each other.
Yeah. When you are thinking about emerging channels for your clients, how do you approach it? Like, where do you even start from a creativity perspective?
I think the important thing is that not siloing communication to any individual platform. I think historically, when a new platform emerges, there's a rush to say, oh, how do we do and what do we do with that platform? Yeah. But really it's about, from a brand's perspective, it's about creating connective experiences and storytelling across different channels. It's about driving consistency of how, when you communicate with an individual, that is really the most important thing.
So attention is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, right? And so when you're thinking about micro content, really short, attention-grabbing content, what do you think brands have to kind of think about when they're modifying traditionally longer form content that was in television and other places in these environments?
I think communications or storytelling can be to the service of an individual. So it's less about like creating just emotional piece of content that reaches someone. Yeah. When it gets more micro, because of the intimacy and it's a back and forth, it's how are you helping an individual be a better person, do engage with your products in a more efficient way, whatever else it can be to the service of the individual, to give added benefit, less about just screaming at them with a piece of content. I think that's the most important thing. It's how a brand can be of service to an individual.
I love that you said that, because one of the trends that I've been following is like brands being more thoughtful about the channel and more curated about the types of content that they're putting in places, and not really just focus on optimization because they know that doesn't have the greatest impact. Now, fun question, what was your last emoji used?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's the sarcastic smile. I'm not sure if it's sarcastic, I think it is sarcastic, where someone's smiling with their teeth really visible. So you don't know, are you laughing with or at someone that you're sending it to? So that's
what's the story behind that?
The story is my wife and I have a pretty dry sense of humor, and I think it's appropriate for many of the jokes that may not be appropriate for camera said to each other.
All right, no, that's perfect. Well, thank you, Dan, for just taking a couple minutes to just talk to me about this. Really interesting to hear your opinions, and hope you have a good social media week.
Thank you for talking to me.
All right, take care.